I'm going to dust away all the fallout because I don't... It has literally ruined my foundation. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be filming a review video using the new Jeffree Star Bloodlust Artistry palette. We've done many reviews here on my channel of the Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes, so I'm really hoping that this one is a little bit different because I honestly spent $76 to get it here today to film this review for you guys. So coming out of the actual box, this is what it looks like. So this is the like kind of covering that it comes in. Once you take it out of the cardboard box, you do get the palette, and this palette is really pretty. Honestly, I really like the aesthetics of it. It's in a, I don't know, stop sign shape hexagon. I'm not really good at my shapes. It's velour, which I really like. It's got the Jeffree Star logo right in the center. It's got all of the nonsense on the back, which honestly we really just don't care about. This little dot lifts up, and inside you get the actual eyeshadow. So we're gonna get rid of this plastic covering. This is just nonsense that we don't need, and there's a little cover on this gigantic mirror, so I'm gonna just... And you really do get a huge mirror in this palette. Honestly, I can applaud Jeffree always on his packaging styles of his palettes. I always think that they are like top notch. If I was going to purchase something solely on the packaging, this would definitely get my attention, honestly. Like, I do not own anything like this. It's very luxurious. I mean, hence probably why it's like a $54 palette, which is a hefty price for an eyeshadow palette. Honestly, I think that's expensive. Here is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. I will do a close-up with just a quick first glance at the palette. Honestly, these again are not really shades I would wear on an everyday basis. I really do like these two shades right here. These are a new formula of Jeffree's, I guess. And this one is Wet Jewel, and this one is Pink Magic. Ooh, that is the Pink Magic shade. And this is what it looks like swatched on my hand. That's actually really, really, really pretty. Looks like it's reflecting purple and pink. It's actually gorge. This shade is Wet Jewel. It honestly also kind of gives off the same vibe. You know, it looks kind of like a white with honestly like a slight pink hue to it. So I want to swatch one of the matte shades in the palette. So I'm going to go in with Blood Queen. This is a matte purple shade. Like, look at the pigment, though. Like, it's so good. I mean, that's a really, really, really pigmented purple. I just feel like, I don't know, something about Jeffree's eyeshadows have never really been my favorite. I'm not saying that they're bad eyeshadows at all. I mean, they are good quality eyeshadows that are pigmented. It's just, I always find they're a little bit harder to blend, and they're a little bit harder... They're just a little bit more patchier than I would like. So what I'm noticing about this purple shade is, can you guys see that like right here is slightly darker than the other side? It's just like the patchiness is what's a little, and it could just be my eyes, but honestly, like staring at it in my hand, like I can see a definite difference of like it's darker over here, and once we go over this way, it's just a little bit lighter. But we are not here for the swatches. We are here to apply it on our eye. So this palette retails for $54 on the Morphe site, the Jeffree Star site, Beauty Bay, and I'm not really sure all the other websites that sell Jeffree Star cosmetics. I purchased mine from Morphe because I've had my issues with the Jeffree Star cosmetics, like shipping. I know I'm not the only one. I mean, when I ordered the mini controversy palette, it took 21 days to make it to where I was. I was like, you know what? I'll order it from Morphe. I know every time that I order from Morphe and I choose 2-day shipping, it literally gets here in 2 days or sooner. So thank you to Morphe for always, you know, getting my packages here on time. You are getting 18 shadows in this palette, which some may view not a lot of shadows, but the pan sizes are fairly big. So for the packaging quality and the size of the pans, do I think $54 is a reasonable price? I do. I think Jeffree Star is vegan and cruelty-free. Do not kill me if that is wrong, but I'm really sure that they're vegan and cruelty-free. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in, and let's get started. Start this tutorial off by using this shade called Vivid Mood. We are going to be using that as a transition shade in our crease. And I'm going to be using it with a Morphe M504. I am going to be using a small handheld mirror just so I can kind of see how the shadows are working. So as you guys can see from my brush, I mean, I picked up a lot and there's not a lot of kickback in the actual pan, which I like. So I am going to dust off the excess. We are just going to start by looking down and applying this right inside the crease. So I am focusing this directly inside my crease. I am not going to take this shadow too high. I really don't want it all the way up to my brow bone like I kind of have been doing. I am just going to keep this kind of as low as I possibly can. And once I feel like the pigment is built up to where I want it, then I'm going to start just blending upwards. But I'm not going to drag it too high. That shadow honestly blended out really, really, really nicely. The next shade that I'm going to take is High King. This is just a deeper, more pinkier purple. I'm just going to apply this one directly in my crease. Because this is a little darker, it's going to deepen it up just a little and give us a little bit more definition. I'm not going to make this an all purple look, I promise. I feel like I've been doing a ton of those since like more palettes have been coming out, but my options are slim. This is pretty much a purple palette. Again, like this shadow is pretty pigmented. It's blending out fairly nicely. Like I'm not noticing any patchiness or anything. I mean, it's honestly going on extremely smooth and buffing out just fine. The next shade in the palette we are going to take is Vile Serpent. This color also spoke to me when I saw this palette online. I was like, you know what, like I just feel like that's a nice like teal color. So we're going to be using that on a Morphe M441. I'm just packing it right on this outer corner. And it's honestly so pretty. It's like a seafoam green, like teal. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe this color, but it's honestly so beautiful. I'm just going to keep this shade out here. And what I am going to do, because we are testing this palette, I'm going to take a smaller brush. This is the Smith 235, and I'm going to go in with Blood Queen. That is the matte purple we swatched at the beginning of the video. I am just going to apply this shade on this inner corner directly in my crease just to deepen it up a little bit more. And so we can kind of differentiate the purple and the blue. And you see how that just gave us a little bit more definition without being anything crazy. For our lid shade, we are going to mix two shadows. I am going to be using the shade Wet Jewel and Pink Magic. These are the two shades right here that are the new formula. I want to try both of them out. I am going to first not spray anything on my brush just to see kind of how they perform on their own. And then if we need to spray our brush to make it a little bit more metallic, we will. I'm going to be taking it on a Sigma E58. And first we're going to be going into Pink Magic. And I'm going to lay that down on my lid. I'm going to start right at the inner corner of my eye, and I am just going to slightly start packing it on. Because this kind of seems like a pressed glitter, I'm just going to continue to treat it as such. That is why I am deciding to press the shadow instead of swipe. Honestly, I think it's pretty on its own, but what I want to do is just give it a little bit more intensity. So I am going to spray my brush and pick up some more. Do you guys kind of see what a difference that did? Just packing the shade on with it being a little bit wet honestly gave us so much more pigment. Because I like to be a little extra, I want to take one more shade. We are going to be using the shade Dungeon. That is this dark matte purple over here. And I'm taking it on a Sigma E36 brush. And we are going to focus it just right in this outer corner. Because I feel like we kind of have no depth in there, and deepen up our eye just a little bit more. I'm also deciding that I'm going to take this glitter shade farther over in my crease. I just feel like it kind of stopped. Again, we are going to be taking the Vile Serpent shade and honestly just packing it right where the shadows are supposed to meet. So we're moving on to this eye. We are going to do a separate look. So I'm going to be taking the Morphe M504 and we are going to go into the shade. This is called Social. I can't even see. This is called Scandal Water. It looks like a very like periwinkle blue. And I'm going to take that, like I said, on the Morphe brush, and we are going to be using this as our transition shade. So just like we did on the other side, I am going to start right in our crease, keeping it really low. I don't want this to, you know, turn into a drag queen look. But once I have nothing left on the brush, I am just going to blend up towards my actual brow bone. So this blue shade, I'm not really kind of obsessed with how it's blending out. I just feel like maybe it's just me. I don't know. I just feel like it's like meh. Like I don't like love it. The next shade I'm going to be taking is Blood Queen. That is that same deep matte purple. And I'm going to be using it on a Morphe M441. And I'm going to be applying this right in my crease. It's okay if this is a little sloppy. We are going to be doing a smoky eye on this eye. So we can be a little sloppier and it'll all kind of come together at the end. The purple though kind of took over that periwinkle blue. So I'm just going to kind of go over it again just to build up so we have kind of like a dark to light gradient. And then to deepen that up, we are going to go in with the shade Dungeon, but we are just going to apply this kind of messy right on the outer corner and kind of along the lid. We are going to be using the shade Executioner, which is the black in the palette. It has some like purple glitter flecks in it, which I am excited to try. So I am just going to pick this up on my brush and we are going to apply this right on the lid. Damn, that black is pigmented, but it's also causing a lot of fallout. So just keep that in mind if you are going to do your skin first. So once the black is applied on the lid, I am going to take this little small brush and mix a little bit of the black and the Dungeon shade together. And right where the two meet, I am going to just slowly go back and forth. So there's kind of just like a really nice blend from black to purple to blue. And because I am not anywhere near done, I am going to take the shade Bleeding Heart, which is the red shade in the palette. And I'm going to apply this kind of on the center of the lid. Like I'm like pushing really hard in the palette. So I'm really hoping that this doesn't fuck the whole look up. Oh, sorry about my language. The red was honestly kind of a complete flop. Like I packed the color on my brush, if you guys can see that, and just kind of going over the lid. There, it's no way. It is what it is. We got to keep rolling with it. I'm going to dust away all the fallout because I don't. It has literally ruined my foundation. I'm going to have to go fix this. We are going to go ahead and finish this eye. And I am going to be taking the Blood Queen shade, which is the purple. And I am going to be running this right underneath my lower lash line. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it backwards so it connects to the top portion of our eye. I have like the biggest pet peeve for when people do eyeshadow looks and like they don't mesh together the top and bottom portion and it just kind of looks like two separate looks kind of meshed together. I also feel like I want to add a little bit more of the Vile Serpent shade kind of in with that purple, just to give it a little bit more definition and to break up all of the purple that we've got going on. And for this side, we're going to have to keep it a little bit more dramatic. I am going to take the black shade and tapping off the excess, I'm going to go right at my lash line. We're going to keep this extremely dark and smoky. But I am going to blend the bottom portion out with Scandal Water, which is that periwinkle blue shade we started off with. On the smoky eye portion of the eye, I am going to use the shade called Sworn Enemy. That is this green metallic shade. I saw it and I'm like, you know what? Let's just see how well that works. And we're going to put it over top of the actual black. So I'm being a little sporadic with this shade. I'm just kind of blending it on my eye. I'm keeping it pretty much in the center of the eye and just blending it towards the edges. So that kind of just added a little bit of oomph to like the center of the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and put my lashes on off camera, and I will come back and give you my final thoughts on this eyeshadow palette. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on this palette, I want you guys to vote down below which eyeshadow look you guys like better. Do you guys like my right side or my left side? Definitely let me know in the comments down below which side you guys choose. This is definitely probably one of my favorites of the Jeffree Star eyeshadow collections. I have not tried every single one. I have a good 4 of them, but this one is by far my favorite of the 4 that I have. Honestly, the shadows are very pigmented and they blended out extremely nicely. I have had issues in the past with some of the matte shadows being a little bit chalky and a little bit patchy, and they just didn't really blend well on my eyes. But I had really no issues with this palette. The only issues I really did have was with the red shade. Honestly, it did not show up on the brush at all. Like, I mean, I dug in the actual pan, and I can show you guys, but I dug in the pan and it did not show up on my eye at all. The black shade I really did like. It's got like some purple glitter in it. It is extremely pigmented, and there is a lot of fallout. So if you're gonna do your foundation first, I definitely would not recommend it because it literally ruined my foundation and I had to go over it again. Like, I had to literally wipe off part of my foundation and redo it. My 2 favorite shades, and actually my 3 favorite shades in the palette, are the shades that are kind of in this little triangle here. And those are the super metallic glitter shades. Honestly, like, I'm wearing both of them on this eye, and I'm wearing the one like goldy green on this side. I wish that Jeffree Star would incorporate those into all of their, you know, metallic shadows, because honestly I feel like before, like, without dousing my brush in water or Fix Plus or something, they really wouldn't show up. And I really did not have that problem here. I did go ahead and pack on the, you know, pigment, and it came out pretty nice, but I really like my eyeshadows, you know, to look wet and extremely like foil. But as you guys can see, these really do stand out. Like, they're gorgeous. It is definitely a yes from me. I definitely think this palette is really nice. The color scheme is a little bit easier to work with, I have to say, than the Conspiracy palette. That really kind of threw me for a loop, and I was like, okay, the color story here, I don't look at the palette and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of looks I could do with it. But this one, I feel like I do have some ideas. Honestly, we created 2 very different looks using similar shadow. If you guys have, you know, got your palettes, let me know what your favorite shade is down in the comments below. I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on the palette and kind of your experiences. That is all I have for this review. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already. And if you guys want to check out my last video, that'll be linked right here. Stay on my channel, have a couple laughs, learn a couple makeup techniques, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, guys.